Get us started. Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living, our Wednesday night midweek oasis. And I am Paul Pursuti, and I'll be your host tonight. As you'll be able to experience tonight, our Wednesday night oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build on the theme of the previous Sunday, sharing in a satsang style, expressing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and interactive. Our annual theme for 2024 is A Grand Rising. Our monthly theme for May is completely um, um, curated by our wonderful senior minister, Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman. And she says, this will be our monthly theme, from good to great to grand to glorious with gratitude. And that's what she's calling her 5G power. So as we blast off into our service today, we remind ourselves that last Sunday, Reverend Sally Bartholomew introduced ideas inspired by the talk title, The Power of Vision. And tonight, our speaker will continue the exploration of this same topic. So as we gather tonight, I really want to welcome you. Early in her ministry with us, Reverend Sunshine invited us to come to the center well. And that invitation I received personally. I thought, wow, welcome. Come to the center well. And tonight we ask you to come to our service well. But she gave us 6 C's for us to consider and incorporate when we come to the center for any event. First, she uses the word compassion, and that's come with a heart of love and tenderness. Then she says, come ready to exchange openly. She calls that communication. Come in friendness and family, friendship and family. We call that camaraderie. Then there's communion. Come in harmony and ready to share. And as we're doing that, come in collaboration, in partnership and cooperation. And finally, and most importantly, she tells us, come with consciousness. That is, come in spiritual awareness and truth. So as we move into the program tonight, these 6 C's are the premise of sharing a wonderful evening with you tonight. So if you're new to our community, joining us live on this event, or watching us on the recording, please visit our homepage, explore it, and then click on the I'm New icon and look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll begin receiving the Village News newsletter once a week in your email. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. Now, before we get started with the talk, please mute your own audio microphone during the service tonight. When you mute your own audio microphone, it will improve the quality of our recording and the transmission. But you can leave your camera on. And please stay through the end of the service, where I'll be sharing with you special and important announcements about what's going on here at the center. So it's time for me to introduce our speaker tonight, and her topic is the power of vision. And that is one of our newer practitioners, Megan Lemon Ross, will be speaking tonight. Megan grew up in Science of Mind, and she attended the Vallejo Centers for Spiritual Living since the age of 16. She started taking classes since she was 18, and she came to Oakland Center in 2019. She completed her licensed practitioner training in 2023, and she joins one of 4 new practitioners, and that's Maureen French and Alice Knudsen and Peggy Cotton and herself. And they're all here tonight to support her. Professionally, Megan is a nurse practitioner and a mother of 3 girls. So, Megan, I'm thanking you in advance for being our speaker tonight. As we do with every organized event at the center, we open with prayer. So, Megan, will you be doing the honors tonight?
No, Maureen is going to pray us in.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and take a breath. Breathing in that breath of life, that breath that is the energy that brings forth all of creation. It brings forth this moment right here and right now as we sit our sit bones in our seats and have our feet firmly on the ground, grounded in the earth, connecting with that power and presence that is the intelligence moving through us. Opening up to the wise words that Megan is to share with us tonight, that she is infused with the divine, energetic intelligence that is one with all of life. May she bless us with her message. And may we open our hearts and our minds as we come together in community to talk about the one. I bless this time together. I bless Megan as she speaks her word. I bless each and every person who made this happen tonight. And so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Maureen. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining us tonight to come together in beloved community to speak on the topic of the power of vision. So this talk was interesting because this is my first talk as a licensed practitioner, and previously Maureen and I did a talk together while we were still going through practitioner training, but I never understood until now what it was meant to have the talk work you. So while visioning for this talk and allowing what I felt needed to be said to come through really worked me for the last 4 days. It forced me to put my principles into practice and to discover and see what happens with, day to day and life and being in principle. So vision is an interesting thing. It's kind of can take on 2 different meanings is what I came to see while preparing for the talk, is that often when we think about a vision, there's an idea, and you can have a personal vision or a collective vision. So the first place I went was a definition, right? Because of what I think of vision is, what am I seeing with my mind's eye, and also what am I feeling? But according to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, a vision is defined as seeing God as the foundation of all the source, of all the substance, of all things, seeing the good, the true, and the beauty everywhere. So sometimes in life that can be hard, seeing the good, seeing the true, and the beauty in everywhere. So for myself, my personal definition that I came up with for a vision, to me, it's similar to an affirmative statement, but kind of casting your idea into the future. So I thought of a vision as kind of a guideline, a definition or an affirmation of qualities that I seek to become or to self-actualize. That my vision for myself and my vision for my life is to not only see the good the true and the beauty everywhere, but to work to achieve that, to work towards being that. And so, interestingly enough, as I'm preparing for this talk, things came up in my own life that gave me the opportunity to practice being who I want to be and how I want to be in the world. And it, despite the challenges, I think that using my spiritual practices and the tools that I've learned throughout my time in science of the mind, but especially during practitioner training, I was really able to move from a place of reaction to being who I want to be and being honest with myself, even when it was very, very uncomfortable. So, in order to do that for myself, I have to come to the place of vision from a place of wholeness. And I think that's very important when we come together for a collective vision, is that if I am coming from my authentic self, then I'm giving you permission to come from your authentic self. And we come together collectively to live this vision that we have for ourselves, whatever that may be. And, when we think about vision, we can think about the Center for Spiritual Living, their vision statement, our goal, I would say, is to live in a world that works for everyone. So how do we collectively come to that, to actualize that vision? How are we working towards showing up that way in our own life, so that when we come together, that we can collectively achieve that vision? So other things that happen while just really sitting with this topic was about being. What am I being in the world? And there's an author, she's pretty popular on Facebook. I don't know her name, but she talks about 80% being and 20% doing, where most of us in the world are focused on the reverse, where we're 20% being and 80% doing something, that we're always working to achieve something. We're working towards the job, or the perfect body, or the perfect house, or whatever it may be. And while there's nothing wrong with those things, when we shift our perspective to focus on 80% of being love in the world, being compassion, being authentic, and really embodying those aspects of ourself, whatever it may be. So my strength may be different than somebody else's strength. And that's where I get to individually show up as myself. And that is where the power of the vision comes from. So, this is often not easy work spiritually, but it is worth it, right? It is the invitation to live a full life, to live from that place of spirit filling you up and providing for you whatever you need, whatever that is in your life, whether it's personally, professionally, in a relationship. So that has been really, I would have to say, my life's work. So Paul touched on the fact that I have been involved in science of the mind since I was 16, and every year after that, something major happened in my life. And working these principles has allowed me to discover what I want to be in the world, and it has anchored me through many of life's storms. So some of the principles that come to mind when I think about a collective vision is diversity. Um, this is a big one for me. I grew up in Vallejo, and I didn't realize until recently that Vallejo is now one of the most diverse places in the United States. And looking back on how I grew up and all the people that I grew up, I can say that I wouldn't be the person that I am today without the individual influences of so many different people in my life. And that collective diversity is really just an outpicturing of spirit in many different forms. And it's added so much value to my life that I think that's important for this collective vision as well. That when we look at the beautiful stained glass window in our spiritual home, that if we remove one piece of that panel, it shifts the beauty of that window. And it is the same aspect in human form. If we remove one piece of the puzzle of all the different individual ways that people show up in our life to teach us, to love us, to guide us, then it's not the same beauty. It's not the same substance that we can collectively come together and create this vision of life. You know, vision of love is what I think of. So when I think about the global theme, I'm sorry, the yearly theme of from grand, from good to great to grand to glorious with gratitude, as Reverend Sunshine has added, I think about throwing a rock on a lake. And when the rock skips with each impact of the water, the energy reverberates out and gets stronger and stronger. And that's the same with casting this collective vision, this vision of what I like to call vision of love, showing up in this authentic energy of love in all things. So knowing that each act and each step we take is this magnificent ripple in the universe, this energy to expand upon and allow our souls to individually and collectively evolve, is just sometimes takes your breath away. It's this interconnectedness with all of life and the whole planet. And knowing that in that act, in that simple act and commitment and choice to show up authentically as myself, to allow anybody I meet to show up in that same authenticity, it becomes sacred. It's a sacred vision. So just going back a little bit to the idea of the 80-20 rule, is that if we're focused 80% on being something instead of doing something, how does that manifest in your life? What do you need to do to be more authentic? What do you need to do to be more, come from a place of love? Because we know that this is the essence of who we are. So what is stopping you from showing up authentically every day in every reaction? And I think that it's important to know that the goal is never perfection, but progress, because we are still having this human experience. And when I think of moving through that experience, it reminds me of the stages of consciousness. And that's, the 4 stages of consciousness, where I'm a victim and life is happening to me. And the second stage is I am manifesting my life. Life is happening by me. Or am I a channel? The third stage of consciousness, where I am an instrument and life is happening through me. And the goal of self-actualization is oneness. Life is happening. It is one consciousness within us, and that the one is the source. It's God, it's love, it's everything. So moving through these stages, we know that it's not linear. Sometimes your first reaction may be victimhood. You get a flat tire on the freeway and like, why is this happening today? We still have that human reaction, but what do we fall back into? Do I fall back into spirit is right here with me, even in the flat tire? If I get the flat tire, am I able to safely exit to the side of the road and still get to where I'm going safely? I think that it's important to show up authentically, but to feel the feelings when they happen, and to allow yourself to move through those stages because they happen. Life happens. That's one of the jokes I used to say through all of my education, is my life is getting in the way of my life, but it happens. And when we lean into these spiritual principles, we really have this opportunity to, well, it's an opportunity and a choice to live from just this authentic well of love and limited energy. So I can't think of I can't think of vision without thinking of visioning. And, this is often a spiritual tool that we don't, um, many people don't use very often, I think, in Science of the Mind. I have to say for myself, I didn't use too much visioning except for in classes and then once becoming a practitioner. But I have found that it's a very powerful tool in identifying and communing with spirit, to really feel the vision within your body, and identifying what needs to channel into you. What do you need to listen to? Where are you tapping into that divine source? So in order to embody that vision, am I communing with the one? Am I seeking out spirit first, or maybe second? But am I seeking out spirit in all things? Am I resting in that divine truth? And so, the qualities of God that I think are important for an authentic life, both individually and collectively, are wholeness. Are we coming from that place of wholeness? Are we seeking oneness and authenticity? And are we using these spiritual tools and principles to guide us along, to guide us through life's circumstances, to celebrate the good, and show up for each one, for each other, for our community, for our family, and for whatever work we seek to do in the world. So I think that, having this idea, this vision is important. It's kind of like a guiding post, but oftentimes the guideposts might need to change based on whatever life brings up. So if we're seeking to focus on being 80% authentic, 80% just pure energy, how do you do that? What do you use to just be yourself, to show up unapologetically, however you are, whatever you're experiencing? And without spiritual practices, sometimes the ego might show up first. Or maybe you are blocking yourself from something and you're not aware, because there's things that subconsciously we hold on to if we are not committed to doing your own work individually, and sometimes collectively, how that shows up in community. So meditation is a great tool. Visioning is another tool often that allows spirit to download ideas for you, because sometimes that spiritual hit is a whisper, and other times I think Reverend Sunshine has spoken to this before, you know, you're not paying attention and maybe you need to be hit upside the head with the 2x4 to get the message. But in all of it is a spiritual message. It's a spiritual evolution of being curious to that. What is this here to teach me? How am I here to grow? So if the goal is authenticity, which just welcoming that and the more, the good and the challenging, the not so fun stuff sometimes. So the questions that I have had to ask myself when I'm in challenging situations is, what is this here to teach me? How do I show up as myself with this and move in the world how I want to be? Am I giving myself grace and humility? And who is supporting me in that? Who is cheerleading me through hard moments, good moments? Who's there to help me celebrate? And who am I supporting? And am I supporting them from this place of wholeness? Am I giving them space to have their own individual experience, trusting that God and spirit is guiding them just as spirit is guiding me, because we're all a part of, individual pieces of this whole experience. We're all part of this oneness of all of life. So some of the ideas that came to me is emotions. What do we feel when we're going through something challenging? How do people show up in those emotions? And emotions really are just a form of energy in your body. Why am I feeling fear? And resting in, how does it really physically manifest in my body? All of us can think of when we were nervous and you have butterflies in your stomach, or when you're really excited and you have a lot of energy. So paying attention to that. How is this energy showing up in my body? And how do I, what do I do to experience that deeper? Or maybe what do I do to release it? I think being mindful of that as well, the subconscious as well as what we're aware of, is also something that takes practice but allows true authentic communication. And so that energy brings us to the teaching symbol, and where we're talking about 80% of being and 20% of doing. The 80% is your involution. What's happening on the inside? What is your work to do on the inside? What is your inner work? There is this divine perfect pattern within each and every one of us, but sometimes we get caught up in the world and the self-critic and the busy mind. And if we're not careful in what the busy mind is telling us, then those emotions, those words become this eternal self-critic. And then now we have these imprints, these emotional imprints that we react from, that we respond, how we move in the world. And that's the hard part, is on learning some of those behaviors, subconscious behaviors and unconscious behaviors, so that we come from not just authenticity, but wholeness and love, to embody that in our life and in our relationships, because collectively, that's how we show up in the world. That's how people perceive us. That's how people feel our energy. And that's been my life work, is showing up in love and compassion through all things, through health challenges and spiritual growth and the more. So this is the part where this is my authentic self. I always get tearful when I talk about my daughter, because it was probably one of the hardest things that I ever went through. But I showed up as my authentic self, and I didn't care what people said about me. I didn't care if the doctor liked me. And it allowed me to move through something that I was told could possibly take my child away from me, to have this vision for her life of thriving, of happiness, of wellness. And many people thought I was crazy. They thought I was angry because I didn't accept what the doctor said to me. But during this time when Sunny was sick, there was this the Louise Hay Heal Summit. And one of the speakers was Michael Beckwith, who I've followed for years. Ever since I was introduced to Science of the Mind, I would follow Michael Beckwith around. I would listen to him. And his quote that stuck with me was that a doctor can give you a diagnosis, but you determine your prognosis. So I had this vision. Even when I couldn't see it myself, that you are whole, perfect, and complete, regardless of appearances, regardless of circumstances. And I used to whisper that in Sunny's ear while she would fall asleep during her chemo treatments in the hospital. And when we didn't follow the path of acceptance, of falling in line with what we were told to do, people didn't understand. They questioned it. But my conviction was so strong in spiritual principle because it had guided me before. It was my anchor through much of my life, that I had to cash this vision of health. And I had my community to support me. My church supported me. My mother supported me, my family, my friends. So that's how I was able to authentically show up, even if that meant falling down and crying one day, because I didn't know if there would be a tomorrow. I didn't know how I would pay the next bill. I didn't know what condition, physical condition, would happen on the other end of this experience. But I knew that if I prayed and I believed in that, and I showed up authentically as myself, that was not only all I can do, but the best I could do. And so that vision really just determined me, pushed me through to be whatever I needed to be in that moment, and to lean into spiritual practice when I didn't know what to do or how to be or what to experience. And I'm grateful for that. So I experienced that good to great to grand to glorious, because many of you see Sunny now, and she's healthy and she's happy and she's having all these experiences that I was told would never happen. That I was told that their vision for my daughter's life was to live 5 years. And I said, no way can I accept that. No way can I accept that. So I speak to that as my personal experience with vision, but collectively, it was a community experience. My church had a Sunny Fund to help us in whatever way they could to move through this experience. We had a prayer circle. And so just knowing that you are always guided, you all are always supported, that I've had this experience show up in my life more than once. That was the most challenging. And I think it is befitting because May is Childhood Brain Cancer Awareness Month. And Sunny has been in remission now since, well, she was diagnosed in 2018. So she's 6 years out from that diagnosis. And that 1 year where I didn't allow anyone to determine her prognosis catapulted me to the next step. She's healthy. Now I get to go and do and be a practitioner and embody this work how I seek to be in the world, authentically, spiritually grounded in who I am and how I need to show up. And so if I allowed that self-critic, that busy mind, I don't know how I would have made it through that. And that's why this work, this spiritual work, is called the hero's journey, because it's not easy, but it's very, very worth it. And it led me here. It led me to Oakland Center. And this center has been another gift because was a place that my children could now come and be in this spiritual community, and in a way that they get to learn and embody principles. It's different when it comes from someone else and not from mom. And it's, even though they've always been there, even in my, when I was pregnant with Sunny, they've always been there, but I don't think they really embodied it, and they got to start to self-actualize this philosophy until we started coming to Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. So now I get to witness that collective spiritual unfoldment in my children, and that gives me immense gratitude. So trying to be mindful of the time. We have a little bit more time, but I do have some questions, and some of them are a little bit of an adaptation to some of the steps we take with visioning from Michael Bernard Beckwith, but I modify them a little bit. So if you are seeking to embody your vision, the power of your individual vision, what is it that you need to become to embody your personal and collective vision for the world? The second question is, how can your community, so all of us here, I see many, many practitioners here tonight, how can your community support you in embodying this vision and showing up as your authentic self? And the last question is, what do I need to let go of to live from this vision?
So Megan, Reverend Sunshine put the questions in the chat. Are you ready for open sharing?
Sure, we're a little bit early, but
Well, no, we're right on time actually. So
Oh, okay.
so we're all good. And so with that in mind, if you would like to respond to any of the questions that Reverend Sunshine has put in the chat or would like to share anything with Megan on her beautiful, inspiring talk tonight, we ask that you raise your hand that way or use the raise hand symbol and we'll recognize you. And right away, the Den Mother wants to talk to you, Megan. Dorothy, the floor is yours.
Megan, all I can say, sweetheart, if I had to rate you, you would be off the charts, okay? You were absolutely fabulous. And I think everybody here needs to unmute themselves and give you a hooray some way. Clap your hands, whatever. Let her know that she is awesome. And we love you, Megan. We love
Wow. Woo, woo, woo.
Yes.
We need to have you come and do
Amazing.
that for
Thank you.
Sunday service, girlfriend. Bring us back to the basics of what we need in our community and ourselves. You were fabulous. And I just appreciate you and your story and your faith that you have in spirit. And I feel the same way you did. When they told me I had MS, I said, no, I don't. Okay. And I say, right on for you, knowing the truth for your baby. And I'm complete.
Great. Thank you, Dorothy. Maureen, you're next.
Oh, well, awesome talk, Megan. Thank you so much. I have some more processing to do. But I mean, I know the story about Sunny, and I mean, every time you tell it, it's always uplifting, and like Dorothy said, it brings you back to the basics. And it's true, it's about love and just practicing the presence. But what I wanted to comment on is when you brought, the self vision to the collective vision, and how you connected that, for me, was really helpful, and talking about the diversity and the need and the benefit of diversity, and how you saw that in your own life. So thank you for sharing that. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. I love the 80-20 rule. In business, we use it differently, but wow, Megan, that was awesome idea. 80% being and 20% doing. And then when, like you said, when you looked at the symbol, the 80% is in the being, and that was just awesome. So thank you for that. That's my little 2 cents. That's my takeaway. Who else has something to say or share with Megan? Dorothy already gave her an A++.
I'll add something as well. Megan, thank you for your share. It just brings me back to the beginning of this month. It was my birthday. And as I listened to Spirit as to how I was going to celebrate my birthday, what came up to me was a vision for this year. And but what it gave some very positive insights in regards to what my steps are and how I'm to tune in even more so. So I'm, grateful for what showed up during the visioning process that I had, and that listening, because that deep listening, it allows us to be able to take the next steps or move forward and to follow the vision that's being that's coming to us. So I just wanted to just share, my insight, my input, and thank you so much for your talk and for your vulnerability. And I'm complete.
I agree, Reverend Deb. Thank you so much. And there's Reverend Sunshine can't unblock herself, but so she can't say anything, but she's got it in the chat, Megan. If you want to go down and look at it, I'm going to read it to everybody. She has a message for you. She says, "Beautiful talk, Megan. Love it. Repeating my other comments, such a beautiful testimony. Let me know when and if you and Sunny D want to share that story in service. I don't know if it was May, was the awareness week or month for this. So you have an open invitation from Reverend Sunshine. Okay. Alice, you have your hand up?
Yes. Megan, thank you so much. That was a lovely talk. I was sitting here beaming because I'm just thinking about all the progress we've all made through prac class. And we're finally doing it. And the one thing that you said that was so very, very, very helpful for me was it's not perfection, it's progress.
Yes.
Right? Because I can be so hard on myself, right? And that's what I'm learning is how to just accept myself as I am. It doesn't mean I'm not going to make improvements, but I don't have to beat myself up anymore and judge myself. And so thank you for that reminder. It was really beautiful, Megan. Thank you so much for all the love and all the effort you put into that. It really was so special. I really loved it. I'm complete.
Thank you, Miss Alice. Miss Peggy, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Megan. It was absolutely beautiful, wonderful. So many details, so many things I'm still looking at, thinking about that you brought back for me from our beginnings to now. And I can't possibly put them into words, but I did want to mention one thing that stuck with me and really has taken a hold of in my awareness of how I operate today versus how I used to operate. And one of the things you said was when we shift our focus to being in the world, to being rather than doing in the world, it's not easy, but it's so worth it to live a full life. It has anchored me through many of life's storms. So thank you for that, because what I do has anchored me as well. And you just gave me such a wonderful reminder of that. So bravo, bravo, girlfriend. You're just rocking it tonight. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you, Miss Peggy. Miss Dorothy, your hand's up again.
Oh, what I wanted to say is Maureen and Alice and Peggy and Megan. It was such an honor to be in class with these 4 new practitioners. They are awesome and they are in high service in our community right now. And we are blessed. Our community is blessed to have these fantastic 4. That's what I call them, the fantastic 4. To be in our community, they stepped up to the plate from the day they graduated as practitioners. And all I can say is we're proud of all of you. And we thank God for each and every one of you. And I'm complete.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Dorothy. Anyone else? Our time is drawing near. We got about another minute. Anybody want to share anything?
This is
before we go?
Sabrina.
Hi,
This is Sabrina. Hi. Megan. Thank you so much for such an amazing presentation. I just love Spirit, how I get to show up just when I need it. Just when I need it. And everything that you gave was just what I needed. You know, I'm going through one of my storms right now, and I'm realizing that there are lots of storms out there. And instead of dodging them, I've been using visioning. But I've been doing it on my own and with Michael Beckwith and his book. and I do it with Audible. And to just have you go through this, I'm going to listen to this again. I'm definitely going to listen to this again because I needed this. And then when you gave the beautiful, vulnerable testimony, I knew that this latest storm I'm going through, which is one of the toughest for me, I'm going to weather it. I'm going to make it through. So thank you very much for sharing your gift.
Just like the ripples of the rock, the energy, Megan, is spreading, and you spread it tonight. So as we come to a close here, let's one more time turn on your cameras. And really, I'm very, very moved by your talk, Megan, and thank you so much. The quality, outstanding.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's really show her.
Thank you.
Tell
Thank you.
her,
Yay. Yes.
yay, 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 yay.
That was excellent.
God bless you, Megan, and thank you for
Bless you.
stepping
Thank you
forward
very much.
and doing it. So with that in mind, it's time for Peter and I to share some announcements with you guys. And Peter, when you're ready. Okay, so this Sunday, Reverend Jerry Carter will be speaking on sacred audacity, and she'll also be introducing our June theme of holy boldness. Meditation starts at 10 a.m., followed by the service at 10:30. Then on Wednesday, June 5th, at our midweek oasis is Rev Deb, the biggest, longest winner other than Peter Gum of the Long Distance Award, and she'll be talking about her sacred audacity. So meditation is at 6:30 and service is at 7. Go to the oaklandcsl.org website and click on the services icon on that page, and that will reveal the Wednesday Zoom link. Join our 2024 daily community spiritual practice using the Abundance Book, The 40-Day Prosperity Plan by John Randolph Price. Today we're on the 30th day of this round of the program, and we're using the 10th affirmation in the book. Follow along daily in the order that the affirmations appear. As the month of May closes, we acknowledge this month as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, recognizing the contributions and influences of Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islander Americans to the history, culture, and achievements of the United States. Our nonprofit partner for June is the Middle East Children's Alliance. This is also known as MECA or MECA, and it works to protect the rights and improve the lives of children in the Middle East through aid, empowerment, and education. MECA provides humanitarian aid, partners with community organizations to run projects for children, and supports income generation projects. Please visit their website at www.mecaforpeace.org. Our Spirit's Treasure bookstore is celebrating Pride Month and Juneteenth in June. Please continue to donate your gently used spiritual books this month and check out the discount on Buddhas. For more information, go to the bookstore at oaklandcsl.org. Join the Oakland Center at the 10th Annual Montclair Beer, Wine, and Music Festival on Saturday, June 15th from 12 to 6 p.m. We will have a booth and we need volunteers. So please contact Linda Wyman at bookstore@oaklandcsl.org. So our next slide shows our what we call our community of servers, and our family and the people to go to for information here at the center. Please know that you can come to me for facilities, and Dow for bookkeeping, and Dorothy for ministry of prayer, Steve, our operations coordinator, Susan around facility usage, our board president, Beth Van Arkel, and of course, our wonderful senior minister, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman. We thank you all for your service to us. And also visit csl.org to see what is happening within our Centers for Spiritual Living of the global organization. And then, of course, visit our website, check it out, explore, and sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates and content you'll only find by liking and subscribing to Oakland Center. Please like us and subscribe to Oakland Center today. When I get to do the announcements, I think about what all the people and all the places and all the things and how fortunate we are, the beautiful grounds, all the folks that come in and out of my life. And I was extremely moved by Megan's presentation, especially when she says, I have a place to go where my children can come and learn the principles. And she can see that manifest movement in and through her children as she does in and through herself. So I'm thinking, wow, what a wonderful gift it is that we have this place to come in, this community to go. So I am in super 5G gratitude mode tonight for everything. Thank you, Megan. Again, I'll probably say it 10 more times before we close down. But if you have a gift to offer the center, whether it's time, treasure, or talent, just vision it, the power of that vision in your mind, and bring it down into your heart space where you can give it to the center. So I'm going to bless that offering, whatever that is, and I'm going to bless it with this statement. This gift I give is God in action. It does good work in the world and blesses creation. If you wish to give us financial support, it's real easy to do on our website. Just click the heart button up there where it says donate from our homepage. And from there, you'll have 5 ways to give. You do credit card, by mail, Zelle, by text, or join us on Sunday to put it in the offering basket when our community goes up and does that as part of our Sunday service. So with all of this gratitude, I'm also thankful for the people that make this event happen. First of all, Megan's speaking and doing the meditation, and she'll be doing the closing prayer. And we want to thank Maureen French for doing our opening prayer. Our ministerial support, Reverend Deb, is here tonight. And Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman is here as well. Thank you, Reverend Sunshine, for this beautiful platform that you give to us every Wednesday to be in community to refresh ourselves between Sundays. Also, speaking of refreshing, it's something that I need regularly here on Zoom, and I get it from some of the best people in the business supporting me in the background. Tonight, I want to thank Peter up in Portland and Alice Knudsen, who's doing the work of 2 Alices, because Alice Herndon is on vacation. She's double dutying Alice's. Alice Knudsen, thank you so much. And I want to do a shout out to Steve Carter for getting us all the information we need to put this program together. So thank you, one and all. My heart is full tonight. So as we come to a close, we close all of our events with prayer as we start them. Megan, I understand you're going to close us in prayer tonight. And if you're ready, willing, and able, I am ready, willing, and able to receive.
Okay. So just taking a deep, deep God breath in and letting it out. And recognizing that there is only one of us here. The divine spirit, the presence of God is living and breathing each and every one of us. And for that truth, I give thanks. I am thankful for this time that we had together in divine community, knowing that all of the words that have been said will continue to ripple out into the universe and come back to us. In great gratitude, I just simply let it go and I bless it all. Amen. And so it is.
And so it
And is.